This one I want to, so all the way through these classes I've been like, right, we're not wasting anything. So I want to show you how you pick up the waste from a design. So the bit that's left on your mat basically. So I'm going to use a wild spider roll again. It can be any double-sided sheets, but I just find with this being 12 by 12, you're not wasting, you're not ending up with lots of scrap bits of card. So all I do is pull this out, and I might as well do a whole sheet while we're here, and then just look at the bottom edge and just pop it down like that, and then let this just naturally fall like that, rather than cutting it down first, because then you don't end up with many bubbles in it. And then when you turn it over, I get my spatula again, so you can see I use this for lots of different things, so it's definitely worth investing in one of these if you haven't got one already. And just press this down firmly. Now when you're trimming it off, if you're using a trimmer, make sure that you're cutting on the card, not on this bit like I did, because you'll ruin your trimmer. And then I'm just going to trim this off. So because I haven't got a trimmer with me, I'm just trimming it off on this card bit. Like that. And that bit for now can go in the bin. And then this bit up here. So you'll end up with a little bit of scrap of black left on, but it almost acts like a little bit of a weight. So it lets that edge, that free edge, just stick down a bit better. So in fact, I don't mind that bit. Just like turning your sellotape over at the end, isn't it? You waste that bit, but it's worth it. Right, so I'm going to turn this back over and just burnish it again. And you'll almost see the texture of the adhesive start to come through. So you've got a nice adhesion on that piece of card. Now, it is a bit tricky and it is a bit messy. I'm not going to lie. It can be a bit unpredictable because you can't see where you're picking up because you're putting a piece of card on top of that. If you find it easier, put your wild spider onto acetate, because you'll still be able to see through it, especially when you're picking up something like black card. So if you find that easier, then you know, whatever makes it work for you. So I'm just going to trim this down. I've already cut the stencil design, so we didn't have to wait for that to cut. I've used the exotic animal file, and I've used, let me find the pattern for you. Nope, not that one. There's some really cool ones in these. Some really detailed patterns. I've used pattern 3 from the exotic animals. And if I just show you some of them, the elephant is there. So you can see Josh has designed the elephant in there, and then you've got all this texture around it. So it's perfect for paper piecing. The giraffe, so you can see mummy giraffe and baby giraffe there in the sun, and the detail in the background. So it's a really nice one to do this technique with. And if you want a real project to get your teeth into it, paper piecing with this is fabulous. But I wanted to show you a different technique. So I'm quite happy with that there. I'm just going to trim that off. So what I'll do for now is take off the main part, so the bit that you would use to paper piece into, if you like. Making sure that I don't pull that bit out of there, because I need that to stay where it is. So you need all the waste bits to stay on to your mat, and then take the excess card off from there as well. So we now have our mat with all that left on. So I'm going to now take this and just roughly gauge where I need to cut. It's about there. So we'll trim that off there. And this is the tricky bit, is you've got to take the backing, all the backing off. And then you've just got to trust that you don't stick it to your mat, especially down here. So I'm going to start with my edge there and pick it up from there. Don't worry about it being all raggedy, because we can trim that down after. So I'm going to peel this back with my tweezers and try and show you as best I can. Keep that just in case we need it. And then I'm just going to press this down. I'm going to position this, and I'm going to press it down lightly like that. And then I'm going to turn it over and just press it down with my fingertips from this side. And you will have to, there'll be bits that want to stay on the mat because they're stuck to adhesive as well, remember. So we just need to make sure that this is the bit where it's tricky, because the waste adhesive wants to stick to the mat. So can you see there where I'm getting those little bits that are still there? Just put it down, press, and do it a bit at a time, and just be patient with it. So I'm just going to peel this back, and I'm just pressing as I go. it's much easier. Well, there's no other way of doing it really. So you just have to get on with it. Actually, it's a bit easier if I peel my mat back that way. I know you, there we go, look at that, perfect. So it's easier if you peel your mat rather than peeling your card. So that's a lesson just learnt there. And then press down. If you get a bit that's been a little monkey, just press it back down and peel it away like this. And you can use your backing of your adhesive to hold it in place if it's sticking to you. Right, you need to stay there. See what I mean about it being a bit tricky, but it is worth it. And you won't be rushing to do it. You won't have any time restraints on you, so I'm just going to peel that back. This is the tough bit where it's wanted to stick to the mat. So turn it over and kind of pull it from all angles rather than forcing it to go. Can you see I'm just rocking it side to side like that. There you go. So then you've transferred all the waste. A bit like you do with vinyl, but you're transferring it onto a sheet that is now sticky. So I'm going to put this back over the top, and I'll save that for later because I've got one that I've already done that is all trimmed down and ready to go. So I'll bring this one in. This is a bigger version of the same thing. And what I'm going to do now is put Gilding Flakes. So this is the reverse, remember, as well. So where the tree was over here, it's now over here. So if you want a mirror image, this is the way to do it as well. So I'm going to bring my Gilding Flake box in again, and I'm going to use a different colour of Gilding Flakes this time. Just make sure, she says, doing it as she remembers, to move your scan and cut mat out of the way, because if you get Gilding Flakes on that, it will stick and you won't get it off. How do I know that? Here. Right, so in the box, and I've chosen these really nice flakes. You can get mixed pots like this, and it's got a bit of red in, a bit of copper, a bit of gold, a bit of burgundy. It just works really nice because this for me is kind of like a savannah sunset, and I just thought these colours work really nice. It's giving that sunset look. And then of course you've got the other piece which you could put onto another adhesive sheet and do what we did before. So you could paper piece some areas and you could Gilding Flake other areas. You could do Gilding Flake and glitter. You could do embossing folders. That would be interesting, wouldn't it? Embossing powders. And do things like that with it. So just have a play around with all the different stash that you've got. I actually looked for some glitter the other day, and I bet I'm the only crafter in the country, apart from Dawn Wheeler, of course, who can't stand glitter. There's no glitter in a craft room. Can you believe that? I was like, surely I've got some glitter somewhere. No, I hadn't. I think Alice has pinched it all when she's been on one of her crafty days at my house without me being there. I don't know what I'm going to have left when I go home. Right, so again, I'm going to just stand this up and tap off any excess gently and then start to brush this down. And the Gilding Flake will go in between the negative spaces. So even if you're somebody that isn't interested in stenciling, you can see how this USB is going to be really, really useful. Because every stencil is a cutting file, just by its nature. Some of them will cut into your cardstock, some of them will cut out, depending on what the design is made to do. But it's one of those that's just worth its weight in gold, because you can do so many different things. I mean, you could draw this if you wanted to, and again, Sanntangle in it, colour it in, whatever you wanted to do. And that's why right at the beginning when I did an introduction to these classes and we did the first technique, and I said keep the waste bits from some of your stencils. You might not keep all these bits because that would be a lot, but keep these bits so you can mask that off while you did Gilding Flakes here. and then you could do something else in there, so it's protecting that space. So just think about doing that as well. I really wish I'd done that when I cut them out, and I forgot, because I didn't think about it until I got to a technique. I went, oh, I need to cut it again. And I don't want you to have to do that, because that's just a waste of dough flex. But you could also just pull out certain pieces, and I'll show you how to do that in Canvas Workspace in one of these little mini workshops, if you like. Because then when we take these into Canvas, there's a whole new world waiting for you at the touch of a button. And I don't want anybody to be scared of it, because if I'm not scared of it, you've no need to be, because I'm terrible with computers. This is looking lovely, actually. Maybe you've been on a safari, maybe you've been lucky enough to go and see animals in their natural habitat. This would look fabulous on a scrapbook page. Right, I'm going to put the lid on this and put the lid on that, and then nothing else escapes. We'll deal with that later on. And then I can show you the finished results, because it looks rather... It does get everywhere. Sorry. Cleaners are going to love me, aren't they, when they come in the morning? Just into a bin then, and then you've got your finished piece like that. So all the bits are getting used, none of the waste, because as crafters we really don't want to waste that much black cardstock, do we? And you get 2 cards out of one then. So I'm just going to show you this one, because this is one that I did originally, and this is the one where I put the stencil on and paper pieced it back in, and then I tried to get the stencil off, and the stencil all curled because the sticky was just too strong for it. So that's when I came up with the transferring the technique. But this, I've just put a little bit of gilding wax on there as well, so you've just got that shimmer and shine in there too. But I think both of them look really quite cute. Right, I'm going to get ready, and we're going to start getting pasty next. So I'm going to just clean up, and then we'll come back and we'll do something completely different.